Welcome back to another video. Start with on this one, we're going to replace the door lock actuator on the driver's door, passenger door, and passenger rear door in the silver car, because neither of these doors lock, and this one is questionable on whether it will unlock or not. I already got the other ones out. Test the driver's door here. Realistically, on this one, all I probably need is the spring. It just doesn't seem like the handle closes all the way. We're just going to replace the whole thing because I can. And then I got the passenger front here and the passenger rear. So I'll start with showing you how to take this thing apart. It's not the most annoying thing in the world, but it is not fun either. First thing I do is pop out this little clip behind the door handle. Easy enough. Usually there's a little push pin back here that you have to push in to unlock that, but that's not in there anymore. And then there's a screw here behind there. Normally there'd be one back behind here as well. It's just not in the car currently. It will get replaced when I put it all back together, because I have it. It's not in the car right now. Pop that off, little flathead, pop it up, slide it back. There's a little slide here, so when you put it back in, push it down, slide it forward, clip it down. And disconnect these two. Baby. There we go. Now that's off. Like I said, normally there's a screw right here. You pop off. Don't have that, so not a big deal. Pop it up. And then behind it, annoying thing, that's going to get replaced. There's a couple clips on the back of this that you pop off, and the handle itself will come out. Just 3 of them. 2 on top, 1 on bottom. That releases. And then you can twist it sideways and push it through the door handle. And that's out. The door panel off to the side. Once you got it there, now this is just going to get replaced anyways. You have to unplug the lock. To actually unplug the lock actuator here. And pull this off. I'm just ripping it off because it's junk. I've got the one from the other car that I'm going to replace it with. This one, the sticky just doesn't sticky anymore, so that is torn up. That's off. There's just a little white clip here. Oh, that doesn't help process, but whatever. Little clip on both sides, pops out. Easy enough there. Then you have this 10mm down here. That's for the run channel for the window. Pop that loose. You have to take this off so you can move the run channel out of the way to actually get the lock out. That's off. You got this one screw here. That comes off. And this is the same on pretty much all of the doors. The only one that's different about this is you have the lock cylinder in it for the key. So you have to disconnect the lock cylinder to get it out. Outside of the door here, there's 3. Pop those off. Try not to lose your screwdriver bit in the grass. Bring this outside. So those 3 bolts there on the outside here. Make sure you knee everything as you're doing this as well, because it's good. And there's a 10mm bolt back in here for the door lock cylinder. A pain to see. There it is. Move that. Maybe, am I even on it? No, wasn't even on it. Now we are. And then make sure you drop it down into the door, because that's ideal. Take that off. Wiggle that out of the way. There's also, see if I can get a good look at it, right here, this little plastic clip. You have to push that off, or break it like I just did. That's nice. But once that's off, you can come above here, pop this out of position. Or if it wants to be a pain in the ass, get a pry tool, pop it out. So that's popped. Are you popped out? No, of course not. Why would you be? Let's try this again. There it is. Pop that out. And you can get the run channel out of the way. You can pop that out. That comes off. And then here, there's this back here. I don't know if you can see it or not. That's where your door lock cylinder goes into the door lock actuator on the driver's side. You gotta pop this clip off and then pull this out. Let's see if I can do that easily while trying to show you. Of course not. Why would you want to work worth a damn? I'm going to use a little screwdriver here. There you go. That pops forward. That popped forward. Pull it out of the door lock actuator. Wiggle it out, whatever. Just be stupid and not want to release. It's supposed to come out relatively easily. This one is not. It's being a bitch. There it is. Once that comes out, then you've got your door lock actuator. And then reverse process to put the new one back in. Same thing on the other doors. So I'm going to get all these taken care of while we're at it. This is old tint. The passenger side over there has no tint. That car has new tint. So all the windows are going to be replaced as well, because I can. That's pretty easy. Obviously you need power to the car. You pull the window down some. There's two 10mm bolts on the track and bolt the window into. Get to access to the bolts, pull the bolts, window regulator all the way down, and then you can tilt the window like 90 degrees forward, pull it up and out. All the door locks are working. I replaced the driver's front just because the handle was very sloppy. That's working a lot better now. Replaced the passenger front because it was not working at all. That's working now. Passenger rear I actually did not need to replace. That one's still laying on the floor over there behind the car. It was just unplugged because it wasn't working, because the passenger front wasn't working. So now that's working and that's plugged in. This side's all good to go. Replaced both of the front windows with tinted ones from the silver car. I pulled the rear ones out of the silver car because, again, fresh tint. But these are fine for right now, because to replace the rear ones, you have to pull off the belt molding here. And that's not doable without having to replace it, because you're going to break the plastic clips front and rear. So I'll have those set to the side. Eventually they will be replaced, maybe, honestly, because these are fine. It was more so just this one that was really bothering me, but I wasn't going to have a mismatched tint front side to side, so I replaced both of them while I had the doors apart. So functionality, fantastic. They put that window back in that car. I don't know if these windows are gonna, no, these windows aren't going back in that car. Those are gonna stay as spares for this, just in case anything happens, or if I do decide to replace them at some point, but that won't be until I get new belt moldings here. Now we're gonna move on to suspension. I'm gonna get the Godspeed crap off of this one, pull the Redshift Motorsports ones off of that one, and part swap. Bring you in afterwards and show you how I got it all set up. I'm probably gonna lower both of the cars when I swap the suspension around. This isn't much lower than factory. Actually, really any lower. The front definitely is. The rear doesn't really feel like it. And then that one I might just lay on the ground as low as I can, just for the hell of it, because why not? As you can see, I've got the car back up in the air. We're going to do a couple things real quick before we get to some of the more fun stuff. There's more maintenance items. Got these Boomba motor mounts laying around from that car. So those are going to go on real quick. I'm going to do the driver and passenger side, or most of the engine one, transmission one. I've got the Hotsport one for the rear motor mount sitting back over there. Don't think I'm going to do the front motor mount right now, just because it's not really needed. The two sides and the rear are the important ones. And then we're also going to swap out the passenger axle with the one from the old SI as well. I'll show you when I pull this one, but this one is slinging grease like crazy. Start with this 10 mil down here, the ground strap. Motor is still hot. Still hot, still hot, still hot. All right, got the 10 mil out of the way. 19, 17, 17, 17, 17. 14, which is kind of a pain to get to. I'm pretty sure these down here are 19s as well, but 19, 19, 17, 17, 17, 17, and 17. God, I really need to clean up this damn garage. Alright. That's wrong. Two 19s are off. Swap over to 17. Got the dog bone off, and we got the top portion that goes from the frame to the motor off. These are 17s as well, of course. Yep. That one's out. Got that one on bolt. Got that one off. All right, now that's out of the way. There's that. Let's drop the motor down a little bit. Get a little more wiggle room. Hopefully. This is not, getting that factory one out is not fun. As you can see there, that's pretty well busted. Yeah, that's hydraulic fluid in there, and that's not what you want. You don't want that coming out. So that needed to be replaced anyways. That was probably the cause of one of our main vibrations there. Not sure where that last clip cut out at. Got the driver's side in, or sorry, not the driver's side, passenger side in. The bone mounts don't have a provision for the ground strap, so I just drilled a hole in here and put a little self-tap screw in. Nice and tight. Started it up. A lot less engine movement with just that mount in. Decided not to do the transmission mount purely out of laziness. I had the ECU and brackets out. Obviously access to the top bolts. There's a bolt down here in the depths of hell that bolts the mount to the subframe. Don't really feel like dealing with that right now, so we're not going to. And that mount's still fine. It's not busted up like this one is. Got the axle out of the hub over here. I realized why the speedometer is off in this thing. You look at the top, you don't see any part numbers on the transmission. Got below the car, there's a VIN number attached to the transmission. This transmission is out of a 9th gen SI, not an 8th gen SI. So first gear is the same, reverse is the same. All the other gear ratios are different, and the final drive is different. So that's what's causing my speedometer to be off. I do have the ECU in right now from the other SI, so I can hook up the Honda over here and unlock it from that car. which is locked to the VIN for that ECU. And I'll swap back to the factory ECU. I'll see if I can mess with the gear ratio readings for the vehicle. That way the speedometer reads correctly. Otherwise, I can adjust the speedometer percentage off to where it does read correctly. But I can also get rid of rev hang and do a couple other things to help this run a little bit smoother and efficiently. But yeah, it's nice to know I've got a 9th gen SI transmission in here instead of an 8th gen SI transmission in here. Which would also explain why the transmission mount itself looks different than what the factory one in the 06 did. It still bolts up the same, it's just the mount itself is different. Got the old axle out. Rotate it. Yeah, you can see there. It was just slaying grease like crazy. The inside was too, just not as bad. I had to pull the intermediate shaft with it. Even out of the car, I can't get these two things separated. Luckily, I have the stuff from the other one. So I've already got the intermediate shaft in. Got the other axle here. I'll take you under the car real quick though. So the oil pan has been replaced. The motor is still the original motor. But if you look up here, see if I can get you to see the light. Yeah, right there. It says FG4. That's a 9th gen SI transmission. So, like I said in the last clip, not a big deal. Mainly just the different gear ratios. But we do have the rear motor mount out. We're going to swap that over with the Hotsport one. Had to take it out anyways to get to the intermediate shaft bolts. So, if I'm there, I might as well do it. That rear motor mount is not fun. But it is in. To get that in, because I'd already done the passenger side motor mount here, and that's so stiff, I had to take the front motor mount off, which is way down there. That bolt was tighter than hell, so that was fun. Obviously, I got it, but I had to take that off so I could move shift the motor forward with a pry bar to be able to sneak the bracket in with the mount in position. There's no way of getting the mount in with the bracket in the way. But it's in. It's nice and tight. This motor is... there's no movement to it whatsoever now. Finally, we can get to the coilovers. This is taking me way longer than I planned on it taking. I started about noon, and I want to say it's around, well, the second set of NFL games just started, so it's around 3:30, 3:45, all to get the axle out, the new axle, not new, but new axle in, and the motor mount in. It's going to be a little over 3 hours. That's not ideal, but it's done. Now we can move on to the more fun stuff. Don't mind the car being dirty. Crappy weather, and I just had the headlights restored, so I had to wait for like 48 hours to wash the car. I just haven't done it yet. But coilovers are on, front and rear. Swapped the Redshift Motorsports, or standard racing now, coilovers over to this car. Put the Godspeeds on the 2-door that's outside behind it. Driving fantastic. We'll go through, do a nut and bolt check after I drove it to work and back today, just to make sure everything in the suspension is tight. I am going to try and unlock the Honda that I've got right up here. But to do so, I've got to either trick the Honda into believing this car is that car, which the ECU's up there for, so I can unlock it and then reprogram it to this car. But to do so, I need to put the ECU in, which means I have to pull the battery out, and I think the intake off again. Program it to the car without changing the VIN. Hopefully that'll allow me to unlock the Honda and then swap back over to the factory ECU on this car. 2 reasons. 1, get rid of rev hang. And 2, I can program the gear ratios to be correct and hopefully have the speedometer read correctly. So I'm going to try and get that done. If I can do that, I'll let you know if it worked. We got the ECU in from the 06, programmed it to the car, and as you can see, it's doing an update. This is returning the ECU back to stock. I still have all the tunes from when the K24 was tuned on this ECU. Being that this is returning the ECU back to stock, should, right down here, hopefully once this is done, just sounds like it's about to be, hopefully now I can unlock it from this car or unlock it from that car's ECU, so I can put this car's ECU back in it and be able to mess with this car's calibrations. That's done. I'm going to make sure this is fully unlocked, and then I'll get the other one back in. That worked. Putting the old ECU in, programming it to this car, let me unlock it, unlock the Hyundai, I should say, and then I got this tuned, not really, changing gear ratios to what the real gear ratios are in the transmission now, since the 9th gen SI transmission. Deleted rev hang because that shit sucks. Main thing I did though was pulled 12% of the speedometer out because it was 13% off, so I had to go negative 12% on the speedometer to get the speedometer to read correctly. If I went 13%, it would be exactly on what I was doing. I didn't want that, so I did negative 12, so it reads just a little bit over, maybe a mile an hour over what I'm actually doing, but I'd rather it be a mile or 2 hour over than exactly what it is, but also don't want it 10 miles an hour over like it was. Actually, at some points, it was like 12 to 15 miles an hour over. It's running good. Suspension's all nice and tight. Handles a lot better. Even just changing the front, pushing the knuckle in to the coilover, and getting that little bit of extra camber, 1,000 times better. It actually will go through a corner instead of just understeering and sliding through a corner. So, as of right now, she's good to go. Still need to swap out the exhaust at some point. Just right now, I'm not too worried about it. Not trying to make a lot of power on it. I just need something that's reliable right now and handles good, which at this point, that's what this does. So that's going to be the end of this one. Bring you on the next one when I decide what I'm going to do with the next. Have a good one.